Good morning. I'm Chris Sullivan, and I'm happy to serve this congregation as a member of your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a short, white woman with silver hair. If you are visiting us this morning, welcome. We have a first-time visitor gift for you at the greeters table, and one of our beloved volunteers will be available up here at the front table after the service to share our getting to know you information. There's a lot going on right after the service this morning, as well as throughout the week. In Beach Hall, you can participate in the Transition Team's interactive storytelling art project, as well as help with an upcycling project for connecting community corridor for people, pollinators, and planet, or CCC for PPP. You can also join the anti-racist allies in the foyer after the service to carpool to Can't Believe It's Vegan, a Black-owned restaurant in Westerville. Don't forget our bread rally tomorrow at Congregation Tiferet Israel at 6:30 p.m. The first UU carpool will leave from our parking lot at 6 p.m. Next Saturday, April 20th, grab your favorite gardening gloves and put on your boots to help plant trees and join a family-friendly Earth Day celebration at Spruce Run Nature Center starting at 9 a.m. And April 23rd at 7 p.m., our Atheist Skeptics Humanist group will host a speaker from the Citizens Climate Lobby. Come hear about how this global organization works at the policy level to mitigate climate change. Please rise in body or spirit to sing the first two verses of our opening hymn, Rising Green, number 1068 in the Teal hymnal.
Good morning. I am Amanda Hayes. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as your justice minister. I am a white woman in my mid-30s with short, spiky hair and glasses. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus. We begin this service by acknowledging that we gather on land stolen from the Adena, Hopewell, Wyandotte, Miami, Seneca, Erie, and Cayuga people, many of whom were forcibly removed from Ohio. We support the Native American Indian Center of Central Ohio in their Land Back NACO campaign, and we know that we have more to do as a community to be in solidarity and true relationship with this land and those indigenous to it.
Good morning, I am Heather Stone. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a member of your congregation. I am a white woman in my late 20s with long blonde hair. I had first been introduced to Unitarian Universalism during college by a dear friend, Galen Spiegler, who I believe is joining us on the internet today by the live stream. He's a fellow UU and author of the Ability Almanac. But I must admit, I initially had my doubts. As someone who had grown up in a Christian background, I couldn't help but suspect blasphemy in this seemingly unconventional faith. However, as my relationship with Jesus grew stronger, I started to feel weaker within the confines of the traditional Christian church. Life took its course and I found myself married again and inheriting a couple of bonus children and eventually bearing some of my own. It was during this time that the older children began expressing their identities, and it became clear to us as a family that a Christian church wasn't a place where our children and ourselves could be celebrated wholly for who they and we are. And so our search for a new spiritual home began. It was then that I remembered my brief encounter with Unitarian Universalism in college. With a glimmer of hope, we entered through the doors of First Unitarian Universalist Church in August of 2022. From the moment we stepped inside, we felt a sense of belonging. By the end of the service, we knew without a doubt that our family had found its home. It was a place where our children could be celebrated for their unique identities, where diversity was not only accepted but embraced. Unitarian Universalism, by its very nature, is not Christian. However, as a Christian Unitarian Universalist, how I identify, we have found that this church shares values with those of Jesus. It walks the walk without talking the talk. The principles of love, acceptance, and justice that Jesus taught are alive and thriving within these walls. In this church, we have found a community that not only accepts our family but celebrates us. Our children are encouraged to explore their own beliefs and identities, free from judgment or condemnation. They are taught to love and respect all people regardless of their differences. This church has taught us the importance of living our faith through action. It has shown us that true spirituality lies not only in our beliefs but in how we treat others and how we strive to make a positive impact on the world around us. Unitarian Universalism may not be the Christian church that I grew up with, but it has become a place where my faith has deepened and flourished. It has become a place where my family can be celebrated, where our values align with those of Jesus, and where we can truly live out our faith. In the First Unitarian Church, we have found a spiritual home that embraces us for who we are and challenges us to be better. And for that, I am eternally grateful. April 16th, Joshua and I celebrate a year of being members of this congregation. This congregation's services, ministry, and impact, sorry, that was put in a different place. I have one more thing to say. To maintain this momentum, we need to build a financial security that will allow us to compensate our staff more fairly and maintain and improve our wonderful building and support putting our UU values into the world. This congregation services, ministry, and impact is possible due to generous congregants like yourselves. Please consider giving at a new level this year for our annual pledge campaign. You can pick up a packet in the gallery and join in lunchroom 301 after the service to learn more. I did so well until the end, and then I was falling over my words. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Heather. It's now time for our children to meet Nikki in the back to prepare to bring in the light. The rest of us now have a moment to turn to our neighbors and introduce ourselves. And this week, you could also share what your favorite flower is. And now our children will bring in the light. Let's finish our conversations as our children are now ready to bring in the light. We're going to finish our conversations as our children are now ready to bring in the light.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, and I bid you welcome. My name is the Reverend Dana Reynolds. I am a retired Unitarian Universalist minister and a member of the First UU Echo Justice team. My pronouns are he, his, and him. I am a slightly tall, slightly overweight white man with salt and pepper colored hair that means black and gray, at least what's left of it. I am also straight, but I am not narrow. We light our chalice with the words from Naomi Penniman as quoted in Emergent Strategy. When Hurricane Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast, almost everything lost its footing. Houses were detached from their foundations, trees and shrubbery were uprooted, signposts and vehicles floated down the rivers that became streets because of the streets were flooded. But amidst the whipping winds and surging water, the oak tree held its ground. How could that be? Instead of digging its roots deep and solitary into the earth, the oak tree grows its roots wide and interlocks with other oak trees in the surrounding area. You cannot bring down 100 oak trees bound together beneath the soil. How do we survive the unnatural disasters of climate change, environmental injustice, over-policing, mass imprisonment, militarization, economic inequality, global corporatization, and displacement? We must survive in the underground, my people. This way we will survive.
Thank you, Roshi, for your help lighting our chalice this morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Amber Scott, your Director of Religious Exploration, and my pronouns are she, they. I am a white femme millennial with wavy, long brown hair, and I'm wearing a floral print dress. Today is an all-ages service, which means that our whole community is invited to experience worship together. There are no Sunday school classes today, but infant and toddler care is available in room 101. Families are invited to pick up a busy bag out in the gallery, or to check out quiet activities available in the We Worship area and Sloter Lounge. If you need a break from the service, kiddos are also welcome to use the craft ideas and board games near the kitchen, accompanied by an adult. Today's story is called If I Were a Tree, written by Andrea Zimmerman and illustrated by Jingjing Song. If I were a tree, I know how I'd be. My trunk strong and wide, my limbs side to side. I'd stand, towering tall, high above all, my leaves growing big and buds on each twig. If I were a tree, that's how I'd be. If I were a tree, I know what I'd feel. The warmth of the sun and squirrels on the run. I'd feel nests on my bark, bats hiding till dark, the climbing of boots and worms by my roots. If I were a tree, that's what I'd feel. Everyone take a deep breath with me. We are going to return to the rest of this story a little bit later in our service. And in just a moment, we are going to sing some more verses of our hymn together. If you have flowers that you didn't put in a vase, or you didn't get a natural object from the table in the back at the top of this service, this will be your opportunity to do that. If you're joining us online, you might take the opportunity to find a natural item nearby or something that reminds you of nature to focus on later in the service. Now I would like to ask some of our adults to help us get the vases from the back of the room and some of our children to help us get the flowers from the tables and bring them forward to the front to this table. After we've moved all the flowers to the front, our children are invited to go sit with their families. Everyone else, during this time, unless you've got something you've got to accomplish, please remain seated with your hands open below the level of your heart to sing verse 3 and 4 of Rising Green. In the month of April, we are sharing our donations with the Connecting Community Corridors for Pollinators, Birds, People, and the Planet, or CCC for PPP. This corridor is made of the yards and container gardens of 40 families in Linden who received donated native plants to support specialist pollinators and birds. The corridor is coordinated by First UU member Diane Kadanaga with OSU and Simply Living as partners. There are lots of ways that you can volunteer with CCC for PPP. Starting after our service,
when we'll be folding seed packets and cutting plant labels out of upcycled white plastic containers in Beach Hall for a native plant sale. Please use the QR code on the screen or on the order of service, text the number on the screen, or go to our website, firstucolumbus.org, and click the Donate tab to share as you feel called. Your gifts help build a better church and a better world. Thank you. Our offering will now be gratefully received. As an interdependent community, what brings joy to one of us brings joy to us all. And the sorrows that one member experiences are held by all of us in love. This morning, we offer sincere condolences to Pat Owens and the entire Owens family for the recent loss of Jessica, who passed away on Monday, April 8. A memorial service in honor of Jessica's life will be held on Saturday, May 4 at 3 p.m. here at the church. You can also stop by the caring table in Beach Hall to sign a card for the Owens family. Let us take a moment to hold this sorrow, as well as the many other sorrows and joys in this room, in our hearts as a community. And I now invite you to join with me in a tactile meditation. We live in a world of beautiful, infinitely fine detail that we can experience with all of our senses, but so often we get caught up in thoughts of the past or future and take this beauty for granted. So just for a few moments, let's take some time to be curious and open to wonder. Please hold the bit of natural material that you've chosen. Perhaps you picked a feather, a pine cone, a leaf, an acorn, a stick, a piece of bark. If you don't have one, you can also focus on your own hand, which indeed is also a part of nature. Now imagine that this little bit of material is like a whole new world that you are exploring, and that you are as tiny as an ant. Try touching the material with one finger. What do you notice? Is it smooth or rough? Spiky? Sticky? Is it hard, or does it squish a bit when you press? Do different parts of your material have different textures and different patterns? Now look closely at your material. What fine details do you notice? Are there patterns you can see from the way that it grew? Are there any holes, scars, rough edges? What do you find beautiful, ugly, or interesting? And now, please close your eyes, or if it feels more comfortable, you can just look away from your bit of natural material. What can you notice with only your sense of touch? Thank you for exploring with me. When you're ready, come back to being human-sized and bring your attention to the front of the room.
Good morning. My name is Susan Carr. I'm a member of the Eco-Justice team. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a short, white woman in her early 70s with short, curly hair. We continue our sense of our community we continue sensing our community with each other and with all life with our book, If I Were a Tree. If I were a tree, I know what I'd hear. Far thunder's low growl, the hoot of an owl. I'd hear snakes in a hole, the sneeze of a mole, a rocky stream flow, and the swishing wind blow. If I were a tree, that's what I'd hear. If I were a tree, I know what I'd see. Hills misty with fog, the life in a log. I'd see blossoms appear, a tiny new deer, a web draped with dew, the dawn turning blue. If I were a tree, that's what I'd see. I invite you to look around at our community as our Spirit of Life choir comes up to sing, and to mindfully listen to the beautiful voices and other sounds in our community.
Greetings all. My name is Tom Balliol, and I'm a member of the first UU Eco-Justice team. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a gray-haired white dude with a beard and mustache, wearing a light blue sport coat over a yellow shirt. I have a blue cast on my left foot, and I'm riding a kneeling scooter. Our reading this morning is a poem I wrote for a recent eco-poetry workshop, and it's titled Wise and Unwise Gods. God said to Adam, "Be fruitful and multiply. I give you dominion over the world. Subdue it as with a sword." The children of Adam did as they were told, and now the world is in deep distress. A climate catastrophe, a food catastrophe, a water catastrophe. Half a world away, the ancestral spirits dreamed and sang into being all the features of the earth: the mountains, the rivers, the trees, the animals, and the great water that stretched beyond sight. At the end of their dreaming, these spirits retired into their creation, telling the people, "All this is yours to care for and use wisely." Two messages from the gods. One has brought us to the brink of disaster.
Please remain seated and join us in singing our meditative hymn, Gathered Here, which is number 389 in your gray hymnal.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here
Our central story today is called Because of an Acorn, written by Lola M. Schaefer and Adam Schaefer and illustrated by Fran Preston Gannon. Because of an acorn, a tree. Because of a tree, a bird. Because of a bird, a seed. Because of a seed, a flower. Because of a flower, a fruit. Because of a fruit, a chipmunk. Because of a chipmunk, a snake. Because of a snake, a hawk. Because of a hawk, an acorn. Because of an acorn, a forest. The end. But it's not really the end, is it?
And because of a forest, we have air to breathe in this very moment. We are Unitarian Universalists. We know this. We believe in the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are but one part. This is a cornerstone of our faith tradition. Some of you have a scientific understanding of this far beyond what I could stand up here and describe. And some of you have a richer spiritual understanding of this than I could put into words. And some of you have a gut-level intuition that impacts the way that you show up daily in the world, like nothing I can say here. But the flower ceremony that we're going to do today is not about words. It's a ritual. We bring flowers, enjoy their beauty together, and we each receive a flower we didn't bring. It's a symbolic experience that we have together in our bodies, through our senses, and often a ritual can hold us powerfully when there are no words. We know our world is sick. We know humans are the cause, and as humans, we have to do something about it. And the grief and the scale can be overwhelming. But in this ritual, we show ourselves and each other in such a tangible, beautiful, simple way that we are here in this moment together, relying on each other and all our relations: flower, oak, snake, bird, chipmunk, and human too. May the love that binds both this community and the entire universe together remind us through these flowers that each of us brings beauty and joy and inspiration, that there is plenty for all to receive, and that we are enough. So now, any young people who would like to help distribute a flower to each person, come on up front. The rest of us will remain in our seats to receive the flowers while Nathan plays. Please accept a flower if you would like one, whether or not you brought one today. And for those who are joining online, please receive the music and images of flowers throughout our slideshow. And if you choose, you might also share flower emojis or links to images of flowers with one another in the chat.
Good morning. My name is Diane Catonaga, and I'm a member of the First UU Eco-Justice team. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a short Asian woman with my black hair and a ponytail, wearing glasses and a green t-shirt with treaties on it. So, does everyone have a flower now? Great. Okay. So now that we are all holding our flowers, let us connect with our senses of taste and smell, returning to if I were a tree. If I were a tree, I know what I'd taste. The layers of land, the soil, and the sand. I'd taste old buried bones and pebbles and stones, and waters that flood, and minerals in mud. If I were a tree, that's what I'd taste. If I were a tree, I know what I'd smell. Sweet honey and bees and skunk on the breeze. I'd smell smoke in the air, the breath of a bear, old fungus decay and rain on the way. If I were a tree, that's what I'd smell. Take a moment as a human to smell your flower. Maybe it has a sweet smell or a strong smell that you don't like, or no smell at all. Does it tickle your nose? Now imagine what it might be like to be a bee or butterfly flying from flower to flower around this room, smelling each flower, tasting the sweetness of each different nectar, weaving an invisible web through this whole space as you spread pollen that brings new life and new possibilities. Now please rise in body or spirit to join in our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home, number 1064 in the teal hymnal and up on the screen.
Low below me, I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my joy, though I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrims, all
the wind's playful tugs, the humming of bugs. I'd love smelling the pine and geese in a line, the taste of the earth and every seed's birth. If I were a tree, that's what I'd love. If I were a tree, I know what I'd know, that days come and go and green leaves will grow. I'd know branches can bend and cold spells will end, that spring will renew and life carries through. If I were a tree, that's what I'd know. If I were a tree, that's how I'd be. The end. Now let us extinguish our chalice together with this responsive reading from our story. I'll read the italics, and I invite everyone to read the bolded words together. It's also on your printed order of service. If I were a tree, I know what I know, that spring will renew, and life carries through.